As we get older, the strength in our legs isn't just about walking, it's about confidence, independence, the ability to say yes to life. But what if your legs don't feel the way they used to? What if stairs make you pause or a simple walk leaves you tired? You're not alone. And today's video might be one of the most important ones you'll watch, because we're not talking about workouts or physical therapy. We're talking about something even simpler: the food on your plate. In this short video, I'll share with you 5 everyday foods that quietly but powerfully help me feel stronger on my feet after just 60 days. It's not a miracle cure, but it's real change. And it starts with understanding what your body truly needs, so please don't skip through. Stay with me until the end, and you might just discover what your legs have been missing all along. And if this video speaks to you, give it a like, leave a comment, or subscribe to Healthy Senior Care TV. We're here to grow stronger together. Some mornings, just getting out of the chair feels like a task. The knees creak, the legs hesitate, and there's that small wobble, so small, yet enough to make you reach for the table or steady yourself on the wall. It didn't used to be this way. Years ago, we walked without thinking, upstairs, down the street, chasing grandkids around the yard. But now, even the thought of a long walk can bring a quiet sigh, and sometimes we just say no to the walk altogether. Not because we're lazy, not because we don't want to move, but because the legs, they just don't feel the same. If this sounds like you, please know something. You're not alone. I used to think it was just part of getting older, that legs naturally grow weaker with age, that the stiffness, the loss of strength, the occasional stumble were all just normal. So I tried to push through it, tried to walk more, tried to do little leg lifts in the living room. I even thought about joining a gym, but the thought of machines and mirrors made me feel even older. Still, nothing seemed to change. Until one quiet afternoon, while reading a simple article, I came across a question that stopped me in my tracks. What if your weak legs aren't from a lack of exercise, but from a lack of nutrition? I sat with that sentence, read it again, and something clicked. I'd spent years trying to move more, but I hadn't once thought about what I was feeding my legs. It made sense, really. Muscles need fuel, bones need support. Energy doesn't come from nowhere. And what if, just what if, my legs were tired not because they were old, but because they were undernourished? That single question lit a tiny spark in me. I started to wonder, what would happen if I changed not how much I moved, but what I ate? I didn't turn my life upside down. I didn't start drinking green smoothies or buying fancy supplements. Instead, I added just 5 simple foods. Foods that anyone can find at a regular store. Nothing exotic, nothing expensive. Just 5 real, wholesome ingredients that I began to enjoy every week. And slowly, something changed. The chair didn't feel so far away anymore. The stairs didn't look as steep. And on one sunny afternoon, I walked around the block, without stopping once. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a fitness guru. I'm just someone who made a small change and felt a big difference. So if your legs have been feeling weak, if you've been quietly struggling like I once did, I invite you to stay with me. Let me share what I discovered. Let me show you the 5 foods that helped bring strength back to my legs, and how they might help you too. Because you deserve to feel steady, to feel strong, to feel like your legs can carry you anywhere you want to go. And it might just start with what's on your plate. I didn't notice it all at once. It came slowly, like a whisper. At first, it was just a moment here and there, taking a bit longer to get up off the couch, needing to hold on to the railing when stepping off a curb, feeling winded just carrying groceries from the car to the kitchen. It's nothing, I told myself. Just tired today. Maybe I slept wrong. But days passed, then weeks, and little things began to feel harder. Bending down to pull weeds in the garden made my legs ache for hours afterward. Standing during Sunday service became a quiet battle. I'd shift my weight from foot to foot, hoping no one noticed. Even simple things like reaching for the top shelf at the store felt like climbing a hill. I started saying no to invitations I once looked forward to. No, I think I'll stay home today. No, my knees have been acting up. Sometimes I said yes, but my heart wasn't in it. I'd worry the whole time about how far we'd have to walk or whether there'd be somewhere to sit. I told myself I was just getting older, but deep down, it didn't feel right, and yet, I didn't question my habits. I thought I was doing fine. I had toast and tea in the morning, a sandwich at lunch, something light at night. Sure, I skipped meals sometimes, but I figured my appetite just wasn't the same anymore. I nibbled on crackers or biscuits in the afternoon, a bit of chocolate after dinner. I drank my milk, had fruit sometimes. That should be enough, right? I mean, isn't that what we were taught? Protein was for athletes, for bodybuilders, for the young ones. Calcium? As long as you drank milk, you were covered. And as long as you stayed active, everything else would take care of itself. At least, that's what I believed. So I focused on walking. I stretched now and then. I even bought a resistance band, but barely knew how to use it. Still, my legs didn't get better. They got shakier, weaker, less willing to carry me through the day. One morning, I stood up from the couch and felt something sharp shoot through the back of my thigh. It stopped me in my tracks. I froze, waiting for it to pass. It did, but the fear lingered. That night, I found myself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, is this what aging is supposed to feel like? This quiet, invisible slipping away of strength, one step at a time. I felt embarrassed when I had to ask someone to carry my grocery bag. Ashamed when I turned down a trip because I was afraid I couldn't keep up. And the worst part? I didn't talk about it. Not really. I smiled. I said I was fine. But inside, I missed the version of me who walked with confidence, who climbed stairs 2 at a time, who didn't worry about falling. And still, I didn't connect the dots. I never asked myself, what if the way I was eating was part of the problem? Because no one talks about it. No one tells you that your muscles are constantly repairing and rebuilding, even after 60. That skipping breakfast means your body has no fuel to support those repairs. That without enough protein, your legs slowly lose the strength they once had. Instead, we hear, eat light, don't eat too much meat, a bowl of cereal is enough. But cereal isn't enough. Toast and jam isn't enough. Crackers and tea aren't enough, especially not when your body is quietly asking for strength. Looking back now, I see it clearly. I was underfeeding my muscles. I was starving the very parts of me that were trying to hold me up. And I didn't know it. I thought I was being careful, sensible, but in reality, I was fading, not because of age, but because of misunderstanding. And that's what hurts the most, the idea that so many of us are going through this, silently, believing that it's too late, that this is just how it has to be. But it doesn't, because once I understood the role food plays, not just in fueling the day, but in rebuilding the body, everything started to shift, not overnight, not magically, but with quiet, steady progress, all from 5 simple foods. And I'll tell you all about them, but first, let me tell you what changed the way I saw everything. It happened on a Sunday afternoon, a warm, golden day, one of those rare moments when the sun feels just right. Not too hot, not too harsh, like it's gently wrapping itself around you. My daughter had brought the grandkids over. They were bursting with energy, running around the garden, laughing, calling out to me. "Grandma, come chase us. Grandpa, bet you can't catch me." I smiled, waved from my chair, but inside I felt that familiar hesitation. My heart wanted to get up, to run, to play, to be part of the joy. But my legs, they didn't answer. They just sat there. I tried to stand, and for a moment my knee buckled. Not enough to fall, but enough to remind me that my body wasn't listening the way it used to. And just like that, a wave of frustration washed over me. Not anger, not sadness, just a quiet, deep ache that comes from knowing you're missing out. Not because you want to, but because you can't. That evening, after everyone had left, I sat alone in the living room. I didn't turn on the TV, didn't read a book, just sat there, staring out the window, thinking. Is this how it ends? Sitting and watching while life moves on without me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I got up, made some tea, and flipped through channels on the TV, just looking for something to distract me. And then I heard a voice say something simple, almost too simple. What you eat decides the strength in your legs. A man was talking on a health show. I don't even remember his name, but that sentence, just 10 words, sounded like they were meant for me. He was explaining how the muscles in our legs are some of the largest in our body, and also the most easily affected by aging. And yet, they're also the most responsive when we give them what they need. He spoke gently, plainly. Your legs aren't just tired, they're hungry for strength-building foods. That hit me like a jolt of lightning. Hungry? It wasn't just that I wasn't moving enough, it was that I wasn't feeding my legs. He went on to talk about protein, about amino acids, about foods we often overlook, because they seem too simple, too ordinary to make a difference. I grabbed a notebook and started scribbling. Eggs, beans, yogurt, oats, greens. Wait, I thought. Those are just regular foods. But that was the beauty of it. They weren't pills, weren't powders, weren't some fancy superfood from halfway across the world. They were sitting right in my kitchen. I just never looked at them with that kind of respect. Suddenly, I was awake, not just in body, but in spirit. I spent the next few days reading everything I could. Watched videos, read articles, took notes like I was back in school again. And over, I saw the same truth. Strong legs don't start in the gym, they start on the plate. That truth gave me hope, because I didn't have to do burpees or squats. I didn't need to join a fitness class or buy fancy equipment. I just needed to start eating with intention. So I made a decision. No more skipping breakfast. No more just a slice of toast and calling it a meal. No more snacks pretending to be nutrition. Instead, I build each day around 5 foods. 5 simple, nourishing staples that would feed my muscles the way they deserved. I told myself, I don't need to lift weights right now. I just need to lift my own life back up. And that's where the real change began. I didn't change my workout because I didn't really have one. I changed my plate. And little by little, my plate changed me. I didn't set out to become a nutrition expert. I wasn't trying to reinvent the way I ate. I just wanted my legs to feel steady again, my steps to feel sure. But as I slowly added each of these 5 foods into my meals, something quiet but powerful began to shift, not just in my body, but in my energy, my mindset, my sense of control. Let me take you through each one, how I found it, how I used it, and how it began to change everything. I used to skip breakfast or just have toast and tea. By mid-morning, I'd feel sluggish, a little lightheaded, but I thought that was normal. I didn't know I was starting the day on empty. Then I read something simple. Muscles don't grow without protein in the morning, so I boiled 2 eggs. The first time, I added a bit of salt, some pepper. Cracked them open slowly, steam curling up in the kitchen. They smelled like warmth, like something grounding, And the best part? I felt full. Not bloated, not heavy, just satisfied. A few days in, I noticed I wasn't snacking as much. By week 2, I felt stronger during my afternoon walks. Now, eggs are my anchor, sometimes boiled, sometimes scrambled with a few cherry tomatoes, sometimes in a soft omelet with spinach tucked inside. I keep them simple, I keep them real. Eggs reminded me that strength can come from the smallest things. At first, I thought oats were bland, something you eat only if you have to. But then, I learned this. Whole grains don't just give you energy, they sustain it. That made me curious. So one morning, I stirred oats into a pot with water, added a pinch of salt, let them simmer slowly. Then came a spoonful of peanut butter, a few slices of banana, a dash of cinnamon. The first bite, creamy, earthy, comforting, not sweet like cereal, not empty like toast, just real. By mid-morning, I wasn't crashing anymore. I could stand longer in the kitchen, even play with the grandkids without needing to sit down so quickly. Oats taught me that energy doesn't have to come in a rush. It can arrive gently and last. Now I rotate. Warm oatmeal with fruit, cold overnight oats with chia seeds, even oat pancakes on Sundays. One bowl a day and my legs feel less like they're running on fumes. I used to think salads were for summer, or for diets, but one evening, I tossed a handful of spinach into my scrambled eggs. Didn't think much of it, just something green to add, but then I started noticing. I wasn't as stiff in the morning, the aches in my knees weren't as loud, and standing up felt smoother. I looked it up. Turns out spinach is rich in magnesium, calcium, potassium, nutrients that keep muscles working and nerves firing. So I made it a habit, a handful in my eggs, a bowl with olive oil and vinegar at lunch, even blended into a green smoothie with banana and yogurt. No rules, just more greens more often. They tasted clean, light. And over time, I felt more awake from the inside out. Spinach, kale, arugula, they don't shout, they don't need to. They just show up in your cells, your joints, your bones, and remind your legs that they're still supported. Gut health wasn't something I thought about, but I had been feeling off, bloated sometimes, sluggish other days, even dizzy now and then. Then I heard that strong legs need strong absorption. That calcium isn't helpful unless your body can take it in, so I bought a tub of plain yogurt, added a drizzle of honey, a few berries, sat at the table, took a bite. Cool, creamy, tangy, like a small reward, and slowly it became part of my rhythm. Mid-morning snack, afternoon boost, even a base for salad dressings or dips. And soon I noticed something unexpected. My balance improved. Less shakiness when I turned too quickly, fewer dizzy spells when standing up. Yogurt or kefir, when I found it, felt like a reset button. I learned that what happens in the gut shows up in the legs. Now I buy the plain kind. No sugar, no flavoring, just real yogurt, alive with probiotics, full of quiet power. Beans, the forgotten fuel. Beans were something I kept in the back of the pantry, good in soups. Maybe a chili now and then, but not something I thought of as muscle food. Then I read that plant-based proteins are gentler on the body, easier to digest, easier to stick with. So I tried. One night I cooked lentils with a little garlic and onion, a dash of cumin, a squeeze of lemon. Served it warm, with rice and a spoonful of plain yogurt. It was delicious, earthy, filling without feeling heavy. The next morning, I didn't wake up sore, and the day after that, I climbed the stairs without thinking about it. I started adding beans to soups, chickpeas to salads, even spread refried beans on toast with an egg on top. They were simple, cheap, but they gave me something I hadn't felt in a while: staying power. Beans reminded me that the most humble foods are often the most healing. These 5 foods didn't change me overnight. But day by day, bite by bite, I felt steadier. My legs didn't shake as much. The stairs didn't feel so high. And I started saying yes again. To walks, to games, to life. The best part? I didn't need a special diet. I didn't need to count calories or buy powders. All I needed was to listen to what my body had been quietly asking for all along. Real food, real fuel, real strength. It's been just over 60 days since I began this quiet little experiment. No big declarations, no strict diets, no gym memberships, just 5 humble foods, and a hope that maybe, just maybe, my legs still had more to give. And they did. I didn't become a different person, but I became more myself, more grounded, more confident, more steady. I can walk farther now. The sidewalk outside my house that once felt too long, now it feels like a warm-up. I go to the store without worrying if I'll need to lean on the cart. I stand through church service without shifting my feet every 5 minutes. I even danced, just a little, with my granddaughter in the kitchen last week. Nothing fancy. I go to the store without worrying if I'll need to lean on the cart. I stand through church service without shifting my feet every 5 minutes. I even danced, just a little, with my granddaughter in the kitchen last week. Nothing fancy, just a few slow steps, but the joy in her eyes and the strength in my legs. I hadn't felt that in years, and it all started with breakfast, with a couple of eggs, a bowl of oats, with choosing spinach over crackers, yogurt over cookies, lentils over processed meals. Not perfection, just consistency, and a little love for the body that's carried me through so much. That's what I want you to hear today. It's not too late. Your legs are still listening. They may be tired, yes. They may feel weaker than they once were, but they haven't given up on you. And with just a little help, some real nourishing food, they might just surprise you. You don't have to overhaul your life. You don't need a fancy plan or expensive ingredients. You just need to begin. Maybe tomorrow morning, try an egg instead of toast. Maybe this week, add some beans to your soup. Buy a small tub of yogurt. Toss a handful of spinach into your meal. These aren't just foods. They're messages to your muscles, your bones, your balance, your energy. Messages that say, I'm still here. I still care. I'm not done yet. And if this story, my little journey, sparked something in you, a memory, a wish, a bit of hope, then please share it, because someone else out there is sitting on their couch right now, feeling like their legs are failing them, wondering if it's just part of getting old. They deserve to know what you now know. That strength doesn't come from doing more. It often comes from nourishing better. So let's keep lifting each other. Let's keep feeding our bodies with care. Let's walk forward, one steady, strong step at a time. You've got this, and your legs, they're ready when you are.